Hey guys, it's a new video today. I'm going to go over some things that I had done as a new instructor in the very beginning, even before I got fully certified. But I was basically finishing up all of my modules for being a comprehensive instructor. And hopefully this will help you in doing some things that may have helped me and had improved my overall outcomes as an instructor and now studio owner for 3 years in this own studio of mine. So the first thing I would do is learn how to write. And it's not something that you would consider being very important when you are finishing your instructor training, but it is definitely worth your time. Having a website is where you'll put all your writing to. So including a blog on your website and having some professional photos of yourself, at least a headshot and maybe 2 photos of you teaching someone else and not photos of yourself doing exercises. Those are a few things, mainly so that you have something to include in your posts, as well as having something that's specifically of you teaching, so that way it can relate to clients who are looking at your website and are curious about you as an instructor. So those are the 3 things that all go together. Learning how to write is one of those things that comes a little bit easier as you are learning Pilates and becoming an instructor. But then as time goes on and life gets more busy after being an instructor, then it may be a little bit harder. But my goal for you is try to write about 500 words of a blog post once a month in your teacher training and after your teacher training. Once a month is good. By the time 2-3 years down the road, when you may be considering your own studio or building your own home business, this may be essential for creating your website to be in the results when people are searching you online. So as you continue with those photos, the easiest way is to use the same information you've put in your blog posts, break it down a little bit, and put that into your social media. As you continue, having a business license. So depending on your state, if you're here in the US, you'll want to look into your requirements for having a business license, even if you do not think you are going to need it. And the main reason is because it's a very small fee every year, and that business license establishes you as a business, and the longer you have it, the better it is. And also looking into your local SBA will help you figure out some long-term goals that you may be able to start working on now in your first 2 years of business, which is where a lot more funding starts to happen for newer businesses. And then afterwards, you have to show more proof that your business is actually working when it comes to getting more SBA loans, getting more assistance from the SBA coaches and things like that. So consider these few things in regards to becoming an instructor. I'll give you a quick little breakdown of how I learned how to do my blog posts based off of my teacher training, which required us to complete a essentially like a case study for a client that we are teaching, including what we saw in the client and then what we used as the exercises, and then how that could benefit the client down the road and any improvements we saw during the time we were teaching that client. So you'll see that set up here in a few seconds. And then the next portion is the photos. So those photos that you're using on your website and blog and social media, hopefully, is that you want photos that can be purposed in 2 different ways. One in landscape mode, so going the long rectangular way to fit on blog posts as well as your website. And then you have the vertical ones for your social media. So if there's a way and you have enough space wherever you're doing your photos to take a very long distance photo, so that way it's easier to crop to fit onto your social media and you don't have to just do 2 separate photos of the same thing. That will be easier for you. And knowing what photos to take. So this becomes more something you learn along the way as you become a teacher and you're teaching more clients, but you'll start to know what kind of people you like to teach, how you like to teach them, and what that client is looking for. So a lot of times when people start in a group fitness studio and they start doing private sessions with you, you may start to notice that these clients are coming in because they're aching. They might have tightness in their back. They work a desk job and just want to engage in some sort of movement that isn't too strenuous at the end of the day because of cortisol levels. So there's a couple things to consider, but the more you start to know the people that you're teaching that you enjoy teaching, then you'll be able to figure out how you're going to write towards that person who may be looking for something online. And then that way they can find you in person or virtually if you're an instructor who teaches online. Now, for the teachers who are planning to have their own full functioning studio at some point, either at home if you have a home to use, or in a business setup like mine is in an office building, I would also suggest at any point when you start processing credit card payments to start using Stripe. Stripe has been probably one of those surprising small things that has made it a game changer for me, because over time, as you continue to use it and the more revenue you start to generate, they may offer you capital. So basically, a business loan that is easier to pay down because it just takes a portion of your payments each time a payment goes through to help you pay towards the loan. So that way, you're kind of does it automatically. You don't have to worry about it. It is a high interest for most people, but something to consider if that is a way that you want to go and you want to start very small and then build up as times. And for those of you who are building a business, and even if it's small now and growing in the future, you want to know your values and your beliefs. So this is something you may have learned in high school when you're going through what your career could be based off of your interests, which for me, we had gotten a book and we kind of circled a couple things and then tallied it up, and it told us like, you're more likely to go XYZ, which is not always the case, obviously. But if you know your values and your beliefs, how would you incorporate that in your own teaching environment is very useful, because it tells you what kind of clients you're trying to attract as well. So that way you're not feeling like you have to overexert yourself for the people who just drain you. So from here, we're going to go into knowing your values and beliefs and then setting boundaries. So as most studios will experience, there's certain clients who have very strong beliefs about themselves that they try to imply towards you. And that can be a big conflict in business because they're trying to take fees away, they're trying to complain about certain things, or their package is expiring, things like that, and they don't like the instructor. So there's the whole gamut of things that could be happening. But the idea is that you start to know what your values and beliefs are. And with those values and beliefs, you can implement your own boundaries, which I know is hard, especially with a stranger, but it is a business, and every business always has their own boundaries, which you'll see in their terms and policies whenever you sign up for a package or for a session, or for those who go more into the cosmetic kind of things, like this is the cancellation policy. You'll be charged this and that if you don't show up, and so on and so forth. So knowing those few things are very beneficial. So that way, when you do start to grow, you have everything set and in mind for how you want to be able to function, so it doesn't stress you out and you're enjoying your business. So hopefully those are some things that could benefit you in creating your own business or becoming the kind of instructor that you want to be. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and talk to me, DM me, or send your comments down below. I'm also looking forward to knowing what other things you're curious about as you are continuing either your teacher training or being an instructor for the first year, and seeing how I can help you. So if you haven't seen my last few videos, feel free to check that out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.